Good morning, day 22 on the Palmetto Trail. I am doing the second half of the high hills of Santee passage. I had to stop midway yesterday because it was so hot out. It was 94 degrees out yesterday and it's supposed to be even hotter today. So I'm getting an early start and I'm going to finish this passage, which ends at a park. So I am very much looking forward to that. But I did not waste yesterday. I did laundry and went to the library and got groceries. So it all worked out. But yeah, it really is a hot one and really melt. And it doesn't cool down at night too much. But we were able to stealth camp at the trailhead here. So that was really a blessing so that I can get off early. I just love listening to the creatures at night. And a first for me is seeing fireflies. A burst of light. And yeah, we thought somebody was coming with a flashlight and oh no, those are fireflies. Very cool. So this is my view right now. So pretty. Well, continuing on with hiking through the book of Ruth, a very special book. One day, Naomi, Ruth's mother-in-law, said to her, "My daughter, shall I not seek rest for you, that it may be well for you?" The word rest may be translated a home and security. By referring to rest, Naomi means marriage. Well, I'm so glad I get to do this part in the morning because it would be very hot, very exposed, but not the best scenery, eh? Naomi felt it her duty to do what she could to provide a home for her daughter-in-law who had so loyally followed her, and accordingly explained to Ruth her right, according to Jewish tradition, and to call upon Boaz to perform his duty as the near kinsman. According to Jewish laws, if Boaz agrees to marry her, Ruth will not only have a home of her own, but she will be able to perpetuate the name and preserve the heritage of her deceased husband. Now, we may think it bizarre what Naomi tells Ruth to do, but this is what happened in those days. She had Ruth wash and anoint herself. In other words, make herself smell real good. Put on your best outfit and go to the threshing floor. But do not make yourself known until Boaz had finished eating and drinking. In other words, Ruth is instructed to prepare herself as a bride. Then when he lies down, go in and cover his feet and lie down. So Ruth did exactly that. It says, Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, and he went to lie down at the end of a heap of grain. And Ruth came in softly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. When it says his heart was cheerful or merry, it means he blessed the name of Jehovah. This word is often used to express happiness and a sense of well-being, and in no way implies that Boaz was intoxicated. With a plentiful harvest at hand after years of famine, he could well be thankful for the bounties of heaven. Boaz was the owner of the fields and grain, and since it was nearing the end of harvest, there was quite a large pile of it. So he took it upon himself to spend the night by it, to protect it from thieves. At midnight, he was startled when he turned and discovered a woman lying at his feet. "Who are you?" "I am Ruth, your maidservant. Take your maidservant under your wing, for I am a close relative." In other words, Ruth was making a marriage proposal to Boaz. Women were progressive back then. Then Boaz praised her for not going after young men. Apparently, he was late middle age and she was young. Boaz was very flattered, I'm sure, that she had proposed to him. No kidding. South Carolina has cactus? My first spotting. However, there was a problem. There was a kinsman who was closer to her than he was. He would approach this guy the next day and ask if he wanted to marry her. If he doesn't, then as the Lord lives, I will. Now go lay down until the morning. Boaz made an oath to Ruth. Just a lot of pine forest walking today. Santee is kind of difficult, but I'm doing it. Well, in the morning, very early, before anyone knew what went on between them, Boaz and Ruth got up, and Boaz filled her shawl with grain for Naomi, and she went home and told Naomi everything. Naomi knew that he would figure out by the end of the day who was to be Ruth's kinsman redeemer. In other words, her husband. I just have to stop and show you this orange road. From what I gather, this is like a hunter's camp. Just park your vehicle here anyway. And then going back into the deep, dark woods. Now this may sound like a very bizarre story, and I'm so glad that I didn't have to live with those customs. But we have to remember that this was a very real issue for the Jews. The home was very important to them back then, as well as it should be for our day as well. It's not even taken seriously these days because more often than not, people don't get married, they just live together. There are two institutions that came down to us from Eden, the Sabbath and marriage. The Sabbath is a time of rest, when in a special way we dwell upon the evidences of God's love for us, and we study how we can more perfectly express our love to Him. And the home, which is to be a place of rest, where love for one another should find its truest and most complete expression. Sadly, Satan has distracted humanity from both kinds of rest, and so our world is a chaotic mess. But there is hope. You can have peace in your life if you will rest on the Sabbath day. And even if you are single like I am, you can make your home a restful haven. And if you are married, you too can initiate rest in your house and make your marriage a priority. I've been walking on this sand for miles. It's like I'm walking on the beach, but there's no water around. Yeah, and there's lots of these things too to avoid. Boy, for the last half a mile I've been attacked by flies. Just nasty. But there's something hopeful up ahead. This is Mill Creek Park. And there's the camper. Sight for sore eyes. A camp for horses, it looks like. That's pretty neat. And hookups. I walked 5.5 miles, and this is where we get to stay tonight. And there's only one other person here.